Hey guys, it's Miss Clark. I am showing you lesson 2 of Martina, the beautiful cockroach. And our I can statement today is I can use information from the text and illustrations to determine a character's response to major events in the story. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So let's look at our vocabulary. We're going to talk about it as we go through the story. We have the word advice, suitor, custom, splendid, clumsy, humble, and tragedy. Okay, so while we are reading, we're going to be looking for those vocabulary words and talking about them. Okay, so I want you to be thinking about what culture is. Okay, what is a culture? And then how do the illustrations teach us about the culture of an area? And then what do you notice? Okay, so let me go ahead and make the screen larger. And we'll start. So it's Martina and the beautiful cockroach. There we go. Flip the screen. So now you can see the words. It's by retold by Carmen Agra Didi. Right. So Martina Josefina Catalina Cucaracha was a beautiful cockroach. She lived in a cozy street lamp in old Havana with her big, lovable family. Now that Martina was 21 days old, she was ready to give her leg in marriage. The Cucaracha household was crawling with excitement. Every senora in the family had something to offer. Tia Cucha gave her una pineta, a seashell comb. Mama gave her una mantilla, a lace shawl. But Abuela, her Cuban grandmother, gave her un consejo increíble, some shocking advice. So, advice, the pictures. Advice is when you are telling somebody to do something like a nice suggestion. You want me to do what? Martina was aghast. You are a beautiful cockroach, said Abuela. Finding husbands to choose from will be easy. Picking the right one could be tricky. But, stammered Martina, how will spilling coffee on the suitor's shoes help me find a good husband? Her grandmother smiled. It will make him angry. Then you'll know how he will speak to you when he loses his temper. Trust me, Martina. The coffee test never fails. Martina wasn't so sure. All right, so the word advice was on the other page, and then on this page was suitor. So a suitor is someone who's going to marry you. Okay, so here are the pictures. Meanwhile, Papa sent El Perico, the parrot, to spread the word. Soon all Havana, from the busy sidewalks of El Prado to El Moro Castle, was abuzz with the news. Martina, the beautiful cockroach, was ready to choose a husband. They got all those different creatures. As was the custom, so custom is like a tradition, Martina would greet her suitors from the balcony under her family's many watchful eyes. Daintily, she sat down and crossed her legs, and crossed her legs, and crossed her legs. She didn't have long to wait. She's waiting for some fellas to come around. Don Gallo, the rooster, strutted up first. Martina tried not to stare at his splendid shoes. Keeping one eye on his reflection, Don Gallo greeted her with a sweeping bow. Caramba! You really are a beautiful cockroach. I will look even more fabulous with you on my wing. With that, he leaned forward and crooned, Martina, Josefina, Catalina, Cucaracha, beautiful muchacha, won't you be my wife? Martina hesitated only for an instant. Coffee, senor? So Don Gallo is a rooster. Right on cue, Abuela appeared. With a quick glance at her grandmother, Martina nervously splattered coffee onto the rooster's spotless shoes. "Oh my," she said with mock dismay. "I'm all feelers today." The rooster was furious. "Clumsy cockroach! I will teach you better manners when you are my wife." Oh my goodness. Martina was stunned. The coffee test had worked. "A most humble offer, senor," she said coolly, "but I cannot accept. You are much too cocky for me." All right, so humble means like, you know, small offer. Don Cerdo, the pig, hoofed up next. His smell curled the little hairs on Martina's legs. "What an unimaginable scent," Martina wheezed. "Is it some new pig cologne?" "Oh no, senorita, it is the sweet aroma of my pigsty. Rotten eggs, turnip peels, stinky cheese." Don Cerdo licked his chops and sang, "Martina, Josefina, Catalina, Cucaracha, beautiful muchacha, won't you be my wife?" Martina had already left in search of coffee. So we got a pig coming up next that she's talking to. She wasted no time with the pig. "Gronk, gronk," squealed Don Cerdo as he dabbed the coffee on his shoes. "What a tragedy for my poor loafers." He really is quite a ham, thought Martina. "Calm yourself, senor. I'll clean them for you." "I'll serve you well," he snorted. "When you are my wife, there'll be no end to cleaning up after me." Martina rolled her eyes in disbelief. "A most charming offer, senor," she said dryly, "but I must decline. You're much too boorish for me." Boorish means like too much like a pig. The coffee test had saved her from yet another unsuitable suitor. So, tragedy is like a terrible thing happening. That was one of our vocabulary words. The pig was scarcely out of sight when Don Lagarto, the lizard, crept over the railing. His oily fingers brushed the little cockroach's lovely mantilla. "You shouldn't sneak up on a lady like that." "I don't sneak, I creep," he said, circling Martina. For some reason, this fellow really bugged her. "I've had enough of creeps for one day," said Martina. "Adios." "But I need your weight." The lizard fell on one scaly knee and warbled, "Martina, Josefina, Catalina, Cucaracha, beautiful muchacha, won't you be my wife?" Martina sighed. "Let me see if there's any coffee left." It's getting easier for her. This time she wasn't taking any chances. Martina returned with 2 cups for the lizard. "Psst, psst," he spat. Don Lagarto was livid. He changed colors 3 times before he finally found his true one. "And think," he hissed, "I was going to marry you." Martina stared at the lizard. You could have heard a breadcrumb drop. "Food for thought, senor," Martina said icily, "but I must refuse. You're much too cold-blooded for me." So she's declined the lizard too. When her grandmother returned to collect the day's coffee cups, Martina was still fuming. "I'm going inside, Abuela." "So soon? See, I'm afraid of whom I might meet next." Abuela drew Martina to the railing and pointed to the garden below. "What about him?" Martina looked down at the tiny brown mouse, and her cockroach heart began to beat faster. Tick-tick, tick-tick. "Oh, Abuela, he's adorable. Where has he been? Right here all along? What do I do? Go talk to him, and just be yourself." Little mouses right there. Martina handed Abuela her pineta and mantilla, then scurried down to the garden. The mouse was waiting. Tick-a-tin, tick-a-tin. "Hola, hello." His voice was like warm honey. "My name is Perez." "Hola," she whispered shyly. "I'm Martina, the beautiful cockroach." He finished for her. "You think I'm beautiful?" The little mouse turned pink under his fur. "Well, my eyes are rather weak, but I have excellent ears. I know you are strong and good, Martina, Josefina, Catalina, Cucaracha." Then he squinted sweetly. "Who cares if you are beautiful? Tick-a-tin, tick-a-tin. Martina, don't forget the coffee." It was Abuela. So it seems like she's already excited about the mouse. "No," thought Martina, "no coffee for Perez." "Martina, Josefina, Catalina, Cucaracha." "See, Abuela." Martina knew better than to argue with her Cuban grandmother. With a heavy heart, she reached for the cup. There's her grandma giving her her coffee to spill on the mouse. But Perez got there first. Quick as a mouse, he splashed Cafe Cabano onto Martina's shoes. Now the coffee was on the other foot. Martina was too delighted to be angry. At last, she'd found her perfect match. But she had to ask, "How did you know about the coffee test?" Perez grinned. "Well, mi amor, my love." So there's the little mouse. I, too, have a Cuban grandmother. And there's this grandmother up there. All right, and that's the end. So there's the back cover. All right, so that's a fun story. All right, now let's look at what is culture. So it's a way of life. So how do the illustrations teach us about the culture of an area, and what did you notice? So a lot of the illustrations were very well drawn, right? They were very lots of green colors, lots of leaves and greenery. There's lots of flowers and stuff. So maybe they live in a place that has a lot of garden stuff. They taught us about the culture, right? Because they've got a lot of street lamps apparently wherever they live, right? And a lot of different farm animals and stuff like that. Because remember, she lived on a lamppost. All right, now here are the discussion questions. So, how did the characters feel when they had coffee poured on their feet? Okay, talk about this with someone at your home. How did Martina feel when she had coffee poured on her feet? And then why did they pour coffee on others' feet? And model how to go back in the text to find details. So, for example, you need to find the part where maybe where they had the coffee, right? So what they say at the very end, he said that he had a Cuban grandmother, and that's why he poured the coffee on her, right? Okay, so you can use illustrations to help you, or you can use the words. So, looking at our cause and effect chart. So the suitor, our cause, is, the first one is the rooster, okay? So his name is Don Gallo. So what was his reaction to the coffee? So how did he act at first when she poured the coffee on him? Okay, so go ahead and write that down. You can say he was, and then write that down. And if you need to, you can go back and look at the book. Then next we have the pig, Don Cerdo. You're going to write how he reacted to the coffee. And then the same for the lizard, Don Lagarto, and then the mouse, which is Perez. Okay, so go ahead and fill out this chart. You should have one at home, and if you don't, you can create one in your notebook. Okay, and then a couple of questions that you can think about. So you can analyze the events in a story. What effect did the coffee have on Martina's suitors? Remember, on her boyfriends that came up. And do you think a mouse would make a good husband for a cockroach? Why or why not? So those are two questions you can think about. You don't have to answer them in your journal, but if you want to, you can. Okay? So that's all for today that I have for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed day 2 of Martina the Beautiful Cockroach. Bye.